Story 1, this is Fireteam Delta. Dad's coming home.
Welcome to the Military Veteran Dad Podcast, where it is our mission to bring every dad home. I am your host, Ben Killoy. I'm a United States Marine veteran, husband, and a father. We will bring authentic conversations to inspire action in your life so we can close the gap between the dad you are today and the dad you want to be tomorrow. This is the Military Veteran Dad Podcast.
Welcome back to Military Veteran Dad, Fatherhood Friday. Guys, this episode is dedicated to you. And the reason why it's dedicated to you, and especially if you've been listening to the podcast leading up to this day, this is the launch of my signature program. The signature program is called It's Time to Come Home. This coaching program was designed from the almost plus 100 interview shows that I have completed on this episode, the almost 50 Fatherhood Fridays that I've completed and solo shows talking about my life, the content and truths that I hope have helped you come home to your family and just share a little bit of wisdom here and there to give you that hope and encouragement to begin to make those changes to truly come home to your family. It is the mission of this podcast, and I would not be the host of this podcast if I didn't help you achieve that objective. Everything this program is built off of the information from this podcast, my life, and the investment in the resources that I have invested in, whether it be a Tony Robbins coaching course, whether it be an actual coaching course for fatherhood, whether it be a membership for fatherhood. I have invested probably close to $20,000 to $30,000 of my money over the last 5 years becoming a better dad and becoming the man that I've stepped into this microphone with. And it is my honor and my excitement to bring to you the It's Time to Come Home coaching program. It's built on 3 big ideas. And they're big ideas that the dad out there that loves this podcast, that knows there's more to life, and that he keeps coming back each week because he wants to hear additional stories about people asking more from fatherhood and delivering it and being inspired. And those 3 things are that your priorities are probably not aligned to where they need to be. Whether it be not having your wife as your number 1, maybe not having your kids as number 2, and then having your work and everything else come into your life as 3, 4, and 5. That when your priorities are out of whack, this podcast has cemented, and in my life, I have validated this because I was out of whack for almost 5 years before I started this podcast. Priorities have to be in line. Second is your ego and your truth, that you wake up every day, and these things have to be true every day in order to feel who you are. Your ego is trying to keep you exactly the way you are. Your truth, you're telling your things every day that have to be true in order for you to keep going, but those don't have to be true anymore. Ego and truth is something that has been so powerful. I've learned through this podcast and my own growth that when you learn to redefine how your ego incorporates into your life and how you use it to move forward in your life, and also understanding what is your truth. And number 3, relationships. This one's no surprise if you've been on a long time listener of the podcast, because I speak about friendships, having a network, having people in your life that matter, having a tribe. These things are a huge component of coming home to your family. And to me, those 3 things, when you unpack your priorities, your ego, and your relationships, you can begin to understand how you are going to get from where you are today, just like I say in every intro, from the dad you are today to the dad you want to be tomorrow and into the future, that your growth just doesn't stop. It's a continuation of the process that you live every day, that growth, the struggle, the pain that you may feel, all of that is where the growth happens. And that is something that we have an entire week of this program dedicated to, called Obstacle is the Way, because the obstacle is the way. It's a title of a book, but it is how the process works. And when you understand how to make it work for you, that is such a huge component. And so I want to talk about, what does this program get you? What are the results that you're going to get? Now, you may be able to fathom what these are, but it's designed with 3 big ideas in mind: to feel connected to your family and their lives. That many military dads have these emotional barriers that prevent them from feeling connected to their family. It happens in many of the coaching calls that I've had when I talk to a friend that reaches out. That connection to their family is something that they yearn for within their heart, but they don't know how to take those steps to create. Number 2, to feel connected to their marriage again. That is something that you may not even realize you're not connected until someone points it out or asks you a question and you're like, you know what? I don't think we do that. And I don't think we talk about it. And then you realize that maybe our marriage has been on autopilot and neither of us has been really feeling connected. And number 3, to feel connected to who you are. This one is probably the most important because it fuels all the other areas. When you feel connected to who you are on the inside and on the outside of who you are, when you look in the mirror and understand your gifts, your abilities, your understanding of what makes you you, that is so important because when you feel that love for yourself and you can love on those areas that make you special, then you can come into your marriage with what I often talk about is being able to unconditionally love yourself so that you can truly unconditionally love others. Now, it's almost a practical impossibility, but it is the noble objective that I live up to every single day. That as I uncovered this year, more than anything, 2020 has given me 2020 vision on my life. And as I see more of myself, I have been able to more unconditionally love my kids, my wife, all of those things become a greater abundance because I come to them not from a point of need, but a point of giving, because I've learned how to connect with myself, figure out who I am, and how do I essentially run my own operating system without other inputs. That's a huge component. So remember, feeling connected to your family, feeling connected to your marriage, and feeling connected to who you are. These 3 things are the big result that this program is designed to. When you think about these 3 things, these are the process to come home. And there is a common feeling that as I was working and creating this program, that many dads, the scariest thing that they walk through is the front door. They go from working dad, where they were successful, they know who they are at work, they have their identity defined by the work that they do. This is the major role that they play within the family. This is maybe the only role they currently see themselves capable of doing. But the moment they walk through that door, it's an entirely different game. Those dads go from high achieving people at work to feeling like that doormat when they walk through the door, not able to connect with their kids, not able to have a conversation with their kids, not able to withstand the storm or the chaos that is often being a dad walking through the door. Because sometimes you walk through the door and you're welcomed with a hero's hug. Other times you're walking through that door and maybe the kids are going crazy. Your wife is trying to make dinner. The kids are yelling. She's trying to discipline. And you just walked into a war zone and you're like, I'm going to go back to work. Or maybe in another scenario, maybe you never left home, because that is the common way that things are when you walk through that door. And you told yourself, I have a few more emails to do. Or you texted your wife and said, hey, I'm going to be late tonight. Those types of things are indicators that the door to your home is the scariest thing that you've walked through. And if you have that feeling of walking through that door and wondering, man, I'm going into a war zone and I'm not ready and it scares me, it should thrill you, even if it is a war zone on the inside. When you are connected to yourself on the inside, what surrounds you isn't really relevant, because you then can just move in. You're not necessarily triggered by what's going on, and you can be the support structure and bring your masculine energy. And when you understand how to use your masculine energy, you can become a calming force within the house versus one that maybe agitates it and makes it worse, because maybe you get triggered because the kids are yelling at you, and then you start yelling at your wife, and then there's just spirals down. Next thing you know, you put the kids to bed and you're not talking to your wife, and maybe that night you go to bed without talking to her or talking about what happened or even giving a kiss and saying, I love you. These things are very common in dads and households across America. And this program is targeted at that dad that when he goes to work, he feels success. And military men feel success when they go to work. This is something we generally know how to conquer the work field, because we know if we have a mission in front of us in the military, we apply that same mindset at work, that if work gives us a mission, we understand how to knock it out, create a list, and get that objective done. But when we go home, we don't know how to be, because in many cases, especially if you're in the military and you had a family, you never really felt safe talking about being in the military or having a family in the military. So this, even maybe at work, it's maybe not something you even feel comfortable talking about or sharing kid stories. And it's that kind of firewall that you put between your family life and your work life that only creates a larger and larger gap that makes that leap over the gap every time you walk through that front door that much harder. So guys, with this said, if you are a dad, like I said, if you feel success at work and you feel like a doormat at home or anything in between that, this program is built for you. And it's not built for everybody. So there's a second underlying feeling below all of that. No matter what result this program gives you, and no matter what I put into it, it has a core fundamental reason that it might not work for you. And it might not work because you're not hungry enough. There's an important question that when a coach does a discovery call, they have to figure out, is this person hungry enough for that result? You ask the coachee, how hungry are you for this result? What would you do if this result could be possible? How much are you willing to do to get it? And you want that 10. And if you give that 10, that means that you are hungry. That means you are willing to jump over your limiting beliefs, jump over the fear in your head, jump over the ego that you feel inside, telling you, go back to being normal. Don't ask these hard questions of life. Go back to being the average dad that only provides, that doesn't provide stability for his wife emotionally, that doesn't provide leadership for his kids. These are things that all matter. And this is what this program teaches you. And it's based on some of the major principles that you already know from work. Learning how to lead at work is very similar to learning how to lead at home. And once you understand that it's a matter of defining the characteristics, creating a plan, understanding the relationship and the connection to how this relates to work and how this relates to home, there's an idea within business that I often talk about in business podcasts that when you are a connected parent at home, you will be a connected employee at work. So maybe you're a manager listening to this and you've got 5 dads on your team. Imagine if those dads truly felt connected at home to the purpose of a family and what it means to be a dad. What would that mean for them showing up at work? What if them showing up at work fulfilled their entire why of creating an amazing legacy of family at home? Imagine the effort, the will that they show up with every day. So this is all tied together, and this is only part of a much grander plan that I have in the future for things planned. But right now, it's time to come home coaching program. It's live, it's ready, and I couldn't be more excited to bring it to you guys because it has been something that's been on my heart. It's been something that's been revealing itself throughout this year. And I had the right amount of people come into my life this fall that really helped and gifted me the ability to create this program, to deliver it to you. So if you've been a long-time listener, you know who you are. And if you've been hungry for something bigger than the free dad course with friendships, this is that program. And so if you want to create the change that you desire in your life, the one that you feel in your heart, not the one in your head, the one in your heart, longing for connection, that feeling of great sex, that when you feel connected to your family, your wife, everything else feels amazing. There's probably even a micro moment where you can go and be like, man, I wish I could have that moment over again. You can. And this program is designed in a way to get you back to who you are, to get you back to being connected to your marriage, to get you back to feeling connected to your family, and to create a massive impact, not just in your life. This program will help you understand how your family tree can impact generations. You aren't just making an investment in this program to change your life. You are literally making an investment in your life to impact dads, sons, daughters, generations in the future with the amount of information and knowledge and just overall information that I've gathered to give you through this program. And so if this sounds like something that you've been wanting to hear, if you want to know more, what I'm offering is a free 45-minute discovery call. that free discovery call, we essentially dive in, figure out where you are at in life, figure out maybe where you want to go, and identify those big goals and identify if this program is right for you. So if you want to dive in, change your life, and understand what is possible on the other side, I invite you to head over to benkaloy.com. There'll be a link in the show notes. Book a 45-minute free discovery call, and I would be more than happy and excited and thrilled all at the same time to talk to you to help identify what it is inside your heart that you haven't been able to acknowledge, put words and emotions together to feel something that you maybe have never felt. And I can't tell you how many dads that I've talked to in the past who always, at the end of those calls, or maybe a couple days later, they always come back and say, that was the most empowering call that I've ever had in memory. There are many dads that have given me that feedback. So I know this 45 minutes, even if this program isn't right, this 45-minute will help you understand who you are and where you want to go. And maybe this program isn't right for you, and I will tell you that right up front, and I'll probably be able to provide some other resources that maybe will be able to get you where you need to go. Or you'll potentially teach me that I need something else. But right now, we are working on It's Time to Come Home. It's time to feel connected to your marriage, your family, and yourself. And I could not be more excited to bring you this program and reconnect you to the family and the legacy that is waiting for you. So if this is you, head over, grab your 45-minute free coaching call at benkaloy.com. And I look forward to talking to you on the other side. And I will talk to you again on the podcast on Monday. And if you are a hungry dad, I hope to talk to you face to face on Zoom.